Welcome back to Super Recaps. Today I'll be showing a movie from 2022 titled Uncharted. Watch out for spoilers ahead. When Nate, the treasure hunter, opens his eyes, he realizes he is hanging upside down from a line of cargo boxes that are suspended in the air and attached to an open plane. He climbs up, fighting off various mercenaries, and manages to get back into the plane, but as soon as he gets in the plane, he is pushed back out by a red car. As he is falling to his death, he's saved by a hand grabbing him just in time, which makes him recall a childhood adventure. Nate and his older brother Sam had sneaked into a museum in Boston 15 years ago, and Nate would have fallen out the window if Sam hadn't saved him. The orphaned siblings are looking for a map from the Magellan expedition to use in their search for an ancient treasure. Sadly, when Sam tries to pick the lock, he sets off the alarm, and the cops apprehend them. The boys are sent back to the orphanage, where it's decided that Nate is allowed to stay, but Sam must be taken to prison because this is his third strike. They allow the brothers to say their goodbyes alone, so Sam uses this opportunity to run away. However, before leaving, he gives Nate his precious ring and promises that he will come back for Nate in the future. After Sam leaves, Nate discovers an empty piece of paper in his brother's lighter. He uses the lighter on the paper, revealing a loving message from Sam. Back to the present, Nate is currently employed as a bartender in New York. He also pickpockets wealthy clients by approaching them with improbable excuses, such as helping a girl light a cigarette to steal her bracelet. Even though it's not working properly these days, Nate still carries his brother's lighter with him. While Nate is closing the bar one night, a man named Sully approaches him. He compliments his pickpocketing abilities before inviting him to join him on a critical upcoming job. Nate isn't about to start committing crimes with a stranger, so he kicks him out, but he soon discovers Sully stole the bracelet from his pocket and left his card in its place. Nate goes to the address on the card in search of the bracelet, sneaking inside by stealing the keys from the doorman. Sully is already waiting for him in the apartment, and to Nate's surprise, he has the original Magellan's map. Nate tells Sully about the rumors saying that the original trip was planned to find gold, and Sully says that it's accurate and further informs him that the Moncada family financially supported the trip, and the current heirs, Armando and his son Santiago, are still in search of that treasure. Sully mentions being a friend of Sam's and even shows Nate a picture of Sam's adult self to persuade Nate to join him. Sully hasn't heard from Sam since they discovered Magellan's journal. Nate agrees that sounds like Sam because he hasn't been in touch with him either, so Sully suggests that looking for the gold could help Nate locate Sam too. Nate still refuses him, claiming that the brother he knew no longer exists. When he returns to his apartment, however, he opens a box containing precious memories. The box has postcards from Sam, which reveals that Nate lied to Sully when he said his brother never contacted him again. He also finds the ring, and after wearing it, he decides to accept Sully's offer. Sully and Nate get together to make their first move. There's going to be an auction, and one of the antiques they're selling is a cross that serves as a key to the chamber where they've hidden the gold. According to the legend, there are 2 keys, and Sully already has one, so they must steal the second one now. Nate studies the building where the auction will be held and devises a plan after demanding that Sully go 50-50 on the gold. Sully and Nate see an expensive red car the night of the auction and discover Santiago is also present, and since Santiago believes the gold is his birthright, they will be facing competition for the cross. Santiago is also not alone. He's with mercenary leader Joe, who continuously teases Sully as she previously used to be his partner. Sully pretends to be one of the buyers as the auction begins, while Nate does his part of the plan. Joe notices him acting suspiciously and dispatches her men to monitor him. Nate gains access to the electrical room by placing his gum on the digital lock. The plan is to cut power so that Sully can steal the cross in the dark. Even though he doesn't have the money for it, Sully has no choice but to start bidding against Santiago because Nate is taking too long. Eventually, Nate is discovered by Joe's men, and a fight ensues. Nate flees the room after fighting for a bit and causes a diversion by jumping on the hall's ceiling lamps. Now that everyone is panicking and the cross is being removed, Sully reverses his jacket and pretends to be one of the workers. As Nate is being pursued by security, Sully says he's in charge of getting the cross to the vault and takes the cross away, but Joe realizes and follows him. After cornering him, she threatens him with her knife, but security arrives and arrests her for assaulting an auction employee. While Joe fights the guards, Sully leaves with the cross. Nate is waiting for Sully when he returns to his car, and the two decide to travel to Spain together. Nate has access to the captain's journal on the plane, which confirms the legend that says Magellan indeed discovered a lot of gold in the Philippines, hid it in Barcelona, and then lied to the Moncada family, saying he found nothing. They'll be able to find the gold if they follow the clues in the journal, though the main clue so far is just a tree. When they arrive in Barcelona, they meet another treasure hunter, Chloe, who has obtained the other cross. She does not, however, want to work with Sully, whom she regards as a liar and a cheater. Nate finds out that she took their cross with her when she leaves and pursues her through the streets of Barcelona. On the other hand, Chloe is faster and makes it to her car. Nate and Sully keep trying and manage to persuade her to stay by saying that she may have the crosses, but they're the only ones who know where to go next as they have the journal. Now that they're all working together, Nate takes them to the location where the clue in the journal hints at. They figure out that the journal doesn't mean an actual literal tree, rather, it refers to a church with the word pine in its name and a tree as its logo. In the meantime, Santiago confronts his father. Armando has made headlines by announcing that he will give away his fortune, and he admits that the reason for this is that their money is dipped in blood. Santiago isn't able to persuade his father to change his mind, so he goes to see Jo, ordering her to keep an eye on Sully because he's been spotted around town. Returning to the team, they're resting before moving on to the next phase of the plan. While Nate is alone in the kitchen, Chloe confronts Sully. She says that she believes Nate is Sam's brother and demands that Sully tell him the truth about the situation, but Sully simply states that he will do it when the moment is right. On a coming day, Santiago attempts to convince his father to reconsider giving away the fortune again, but Armando refuses. Santiago responds to this by following him to his car and ordering Jo to kill him. During the night, the team enters the church dressed as tourists, and Nate is surprised to discover that the postcards they sell there are the same as the ones Sam sent. The trio finds a secret button by following the symbols and words carved on the floor and walls, which Nate presses to reveal a painting hidden behind the Mary statue. Nate turns it around, which shows a picture of hell. He also finds keyholes for the crosses at the altar. When Nate and Chloe use the keys and turn them clockwise, it shoots a series of darts that nearly kills them. They dodge just in time and turn the key the other way, which finally opens a hidden tunnel. According to the journal, one must remain in heaven and the other in hell, so they leave Sully outside with one key while they enter the tunnel with the other key. Nate installs a tracker on Sully's phone so that he can follow their movements, but he doesn't know that Jo is also following him. Nate and Chloe navigate through the tunnel to a nightclub, where Jo's men are also present. They go through the room by pretending to be a couple dancing and arrive at the bar, where Nate tries to use Sam's lighter to start a fire but fails, so Chloe does it for him. The fire works as a distraction and they have time to work on the puzzle carved on the wall behind the bar. They get found by Jo's men and Nate has to find them to hold them off until Chloe uses the cross on another keyhole. Another tunnel opens in front of them, and they both escape just as it closes again, making Jo's men unable to follow them. They follow the tunnel and reach a secret door beneath a fountain. After they use their key on it, the room begins to flood with water slowly. To save them, Sully needs to use the cross on the hole above the ground, but a strong glass shields the keyhole. When he's trying to break the glass, he fights with Jo, who is there to steal the cross. Jo appears to be winning at first, but Sully quickly overtakes her and throws Jo against the glass, breaking it. Sully uses the cross on the keyhole to open the secret door, but only Nate emerges. Nate goes back underwater when he finds out Chloe has passed out and saves her. When they're out, Chloe is surprised that she didn't get backstabbed, but instead, she was saved. The opening leads to a Roman antechamber. Nate uses his lighter again to light up the lamp. Sully can see them through a drainage grill on the street because this chamber is also underground. Sully also discovers a symbol carved on a rock indicating that both keys must be used together to open the next door, so he throws the key he has through the grill so it can reach Nate and Chloe. Nate uses the crosses and unlocks another mysterious door that leads them to a Roman storehouse. There are 3 massive urns in it, and for a brief moment, the team believes they have discovered gold, but the urns are actually full of salt. While they are inspecting them, the urns break, out of the blue, allowing them to find a map among the salt. Nate notices a route connecting Spain and the East Indies, but before discussing his findings, Chloe pulls out her gun and threatens him to hand over the map. After Sully wakes him up and Nate demands to know the truth, Sully finally reveals that Sam did not disappear, he simply left. They had arrived at the captain's tomb and found the journal together, but on their way out, Sam got shot as they were attacked by Jo and her men. Nate realizes Sully fled and left Sam to die alone, and the only reason he asked Nate for help was because Sam could have told him about the missing clues needed to find the gold. Nate breaks their partnership and leaves after accusing Sully of being greedy and selfish. Afterward, Sully tracks Nate down to persuade him to return, and Nate agrees only because he's been looking at the postcards and has decided he wants to finish what his brother started. Elsewhere, Jo informs Santiago about what happened, where she discovers Chloe is working for him too. Chloe is made the leader of the operation because she has been more successful. At Santiago's private airport, his team prepares everything, including his expensive red car, which Nate and Sully are hiding inside, to sneak in. After examining the map and determining their course, Santiago delivers a speech about how his family has been betrayed and how he will restore their honor, but Jo cuts him off by killing him. While Jo and her men pursue Chloe, Nate and Sully take advantage of the opportunity to get the map back. The plan is to jump off the plane by stealing parachutes, but when they arrive at the cargo hold, Nate can't help but confront Jo and ask her if she really killed Sam. Sully jumps away with the parachute as Nate fights the men as the cargo is pushed off the plane, returning us to the story's beginning. Joe's men track Chloe down and they get in a gunfight, making it challenging for her to run away with the parachute too. So that's why she decides to get in the car and drives it off the plane. When Nate tries to get inside the plane, she pushes him out once more. But it's also her who grabs his hand and leads him to one of the falling cargo boxes, dropping on top of it and opening the parachute, allowing them to land safely in the middle of the sea. For a while, they both float around until they reach the Philippines. They use Sully's credit card to get a hotel room. Chloe prints a map with the same dimensions as the real one, and Nate realizes the map doesn't pinpoint the exact location to find the treasure using Sam's postcards. Sully was correct. Sam did try to leave Nate the final clue, so Nate and Chloe spent the night deciphering his messages. Chloe eventually falls asleep, but Nate refuses to give up, which works in his favor because he realizes he hasn't used the oldest trick in Sam's book. Nate uses a candle to reveal a secret message on a postcard telling him to use the crosses as a compass. Nate does exactly that and eventually finds the gold, noting the coordinates on a piece of paper before going to bed. Joe and her men arrive the following day, but Chloe is the first to awaken and discovers the paper with Nate's coordinates. She leaves Nate behind and takes the note with her, but when Nate wakes up alone, he isn't concerned because he purposefully left the wrong coordinates, knowing Chloe would backstab him. Nate goes to the location of the coordinates using a motorboat, unaware that Joe notices him from a distance while looking in the wrong direction. Nate swims through an underwater tunnel inside this cave. He emerges inside another cave where both Magellan's ships have been hidden for years. Sully appears in the cave as Nate discovers the gold, because of the tracker he still has on his phone. He compliments Nate and says Sam will be proud of him, but before they can continue, Joe and her men arrive, forcing them to hide inside a secret compartment. Using 2 helicopters, Joe's crew airlifts the ships through a hole on top of the cave. Therefore, Sully and Nate try to steal as much gold as possible while fighting with a sword and a dagger. Then they go upstairs and fight the crew until every man is thrown off the ship. Sully climbs the chains that hold the ship together and reaches the helicopter, where he throws the men off and takes control of the helicopter to run away from Joe, who is on the other ship. Her men storm Nate's ship and start fighting, so Nate beats them up and steals some guns from them. He also discovers some gunpowder during the fight. Sully pilots the helicopter between cliffs to avoid the chasers. Still, Joe is waiting for him on the other side. Joe and her ship are still pursuing them, prompting Nate to take drastic measures. Nate puts a ball inside the ship's cannon with the gunpowder he found, and after a few failed attempts, he manages to finally make Sam's lighter work and fires the cannon, setting the other helicopter on fire. Joe manages to jump off the ship before it collides with a hill, but Joe has jumped aboard their ship and is now releasing the anchor to prevent them from running away. The ship won't last much longer. Joe and Nate fight for some time and then Nate tries to get to the helicopter by climbing the chain. Sully finally has a change of heart and decides to sacrifice his bag of gold to save Nate. He throws his bag of gold at Joe, causing her to fall into the ocean. Sully then assists Nate in getting into the helicopter just as the chains finally break and the ship falls on top of Joe, killing her. The ship floats for a few seconds before sinking, and Nate thinks they can dive for fallen treasure later, but now that will be impossible because the Philippine naval units are approaching. Chloe is also trying to follow them on her motorboat, which makes Sully laugh, but he is also saddened by the loss of treasure. Nate, on the other hand, shocks him by revealing the gold he's managed to conceal in his pants. Meanwhile, in a remote prison, Sam sends Nate another postcard warning him to be careful. Months later, Nate is approached by an agent working for a man named Roman, who wants to trade in a Nazi map to get Nate's ring. The agent tries to betray Nate by stealing both the ring and the map, but Sully appears and creates a diversion, allowing Nate to get both items from the man. As the two leave together, they are apprehended by an unknown person. Thanks for watching. To support the channel, make sure to subscribe and press the bell icon to get new video updates.